reason I wanted to fly, all I did in my life before that was have babies. And I got sick and tired of that. So I thought, I got to do something else. And I thought, what do I want to do? I always wanted to learn to fly. I lived at Pleasant Gap, close to an airport out there. And I'd see these planes coming in and out. And I lived in a farm. And I could see how much fun that looked up in the sky, going in and out of the clouds and all this and that. So I decided I had 3 boys, 3 misses, and 3 girls. And I said, enough is enough. From now on, I'm going to do something for me, Doris. I'm not doing any more of this other stuff. I'm not even going to do housework anymore. I hired a girl to come in and clean my house, and I went flying. And I didn't know how to do that. But I went over to the airport at State College, and they kind of, handed me off to someone else again and again. And finally, I went to Sherm-Lutz's. And here, lo and behold, at Sherm-Lutz's, there was this glider club with these 2 guys. And I went, wow, this is pretty neat, flying gliders. And I was thinking of power plane. But anyway, I went into flying gliders at that airport. And then finally, I went to the University Park Airport, and I took lessons there. And it was great. It was so much fun. I was flying power, and I went down. My parents lived in Florida. I went down there to visit them, and my brother said to me, hey, you really are into this flying. I'm going to take you out to an airport and you can fly gliders. And that's where I first took my first glider ride down in Florida where my parents lived. And it was so much fun. It was real quiet compared to what I was flying at University Park. And I thought, okay, when I go home, I'm going to see if there's a glider club around somewhere that I could fly gliders. So I was taking power flighting at the university, and then I found this glider club. And here in the glider club was my next door neighbor when I was a kid, Tom Knopf. And I went, whoa, I know him. And the first thing I know, I joined the glider club and at Sherm-Lutz's. And it was quiet, real quiet compared to power flying, but it was a lot of fun. So all of a sudden, Tom says, to me, he said, I think we should go over there. There's a glider strip along 220. And he said, a couple of the guys from the glider club owned the strip. So we went over there, and it was these 2 guys, and they wanted to sell the strip. And I said to Tom, we should buy that. And that's how Tom and I got into this strip here. He said, well, we should start a glider port after I flew there for a while. And I thought, oh, that's okay with me. My kids were all in school. I had 6 of them. They were all, I'd say probably at least in maybe 5th grade or so. And so I found a place in at State College, moved, took the kids up there, put them to school, and I bought this strip here with Tom. And I thought, I knew Tom from being a little kid. So I thought, yeah, I kind of like him. I guess I could get along with him. And would you believe, we opened this strip and started flying, built all the buildings and all. And people started coming here to fly from all over because of the ridge. And up at Carl's place, we flew up there. The club flew up there, and I had joined this club. So I knew that the ridge was here, and it was really good because up at Carl's, he went for long distances. And so that's how Tom and I got involved in this. even though I knew him as a little kid, I thought, well, I can slap him down a little bit if I have to, because I'm a little bit older than he is. So I thought, okay, I can do this with him. So we started this and started flying long distance. And the more I flew, the more I liked it. I liked it better than power flying. It was, no noise. It was really neat. Maybe taken off, you would have a little bit of noise with the tow plane. But anyway, we started this in 75. And we've been here for all those years. And we've really had fun. And that was 75 that we started the glider port. So we've been here since 1975. And we just had part of this building as an office and part as a class for all the people that we were teaching to go and come in for flights and all and instruction. It really has expanded, as you can see the map. And I started flying all by myself, long flights. Gotta tell you, I'll be honest, the first flight that I did by myself, I landed in the next field up, right up here. And I was ashamed to go back to the glider port and tell them I landed out already. So I sat up there for a while. I don't know how long, not a day, but I sat up there all by myself thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How do I get this plane out of this field? And da, 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 da. So anyway, I got the nerve to come back and say to Tom, I landed up here in the next field. And he said, you did what? I said, I don't have the plane on me. I landed. So I did fly up at Carl's Field, I think before we started this. And we went up there to fly. So I knew the ridge a little bit, but that's how we saw the ridge and the airport here that we could. Two of the guys in the club owned this strip, and they flew out of it. So anyway, we negotiated with them. They didn't really want to fly commercially out of here. So we've been flying since 1975 here at this airport. And we've had a lot of fun. And we still talk to each other. They helped me. I had 3 girls and a boy. And actually, the oldest boy was an airline pilot. And it ended up the youngest girl, Rosalie, she became an airline pilot too. So they were both flying airlines. So I kind of had a little bit of push behind me. And we just had a lot of fun, and we made a lot of friends all over because we went all over the world flying gliders in competition. And so that's sort of the start. And then I decided to start setting records to go a little bit farther. So I've had at least, I think maybe 3 world records just flying. And I think one of them was in 75. That was pretty early. And but I did 1,000 kilometers a couple of times, and then a couple other ones that I got rewards for, but being, long flights. So I flew 700 and some kilometers in 79. And then 1980, I did 1,000 kilometers. And that took me all day.
First one.
That was the first woman in the world to do 1,000 kilometers. And then I had to better that. In 1981, I did 1,127 kilometers. And I would see Carl down there a lot when the days were really good for flying and I could fly. When I could fly, Tom had to stay here and manage the glider port. So he didn't have all the fun at that time, but he had his own. And anyway, I've had maybe 3 world records at least for women. And I think the longest was 1,127 kilometers that I flew to Fincastle Country Club. So I got used to this, and it was kind of great because it was one way of getting out of work at the glider port. I could go fly. I didn't have to instruct and teach people to fly. So I could go down the ridge on really good days. And I've landed out a few times, maybe more than a few. And one time, the worst one, I took Rosalie, the youngest child, the youngest girl, and she became an airline pilot. But I took her one day, and it happened to be a Saturday, which I probably shouldn't have gone at all because we were busy at the airport. I took off and I went all of up to Altoona, which is how many miles? Maybe
30.
Was it 30? I landed probably like 6:30 in the morning. I landed up there with Rosalie in the Grove in a 2-seater, and I had to wait all day long until Tom got through teaching all the students. So I didn't really like that. That was a pain in the butt, to be sitting up there for long. But I've had a lot of, and Carl knows too, I've had a lot of land outs way far away. But that was just a short distance. We should have hitchhiked home, but we didn't. We waited for Tom to come get us. Okay, and I've had a lot of fun ever since.